This is a very simple process which I'm going to talk you through the various surfaces that can be used. So really you can use any surface, but we've got here a piece of white melamine board, we've got a piece of thin MDF, we've got a piece of aluminium lithoplate that has been assembled on a piece of MDF, we've got a piece of perspex. And quite simply what we're going to do is to create what is effectively printable surfaces using a variety of non-toxic, basically acrylic materials that will create an image that can be printed as an intaglio. Just to start with, I've got here some very simple sawdust. If I add some black, in this case I'm using black just to show the colour, if I mix that in with the sawdust, I create effectively what is a rough paste which, as I paint it onto the surface, the grit of the sawdust will hold the ink. I can add the same pigment to carborundum grit, and again by mixing it in I will get a different grade of mark depending on the grade of the carborundum grit and how much paint you add in relation to the grit. I can score into it, I can create negative marks within a positive mark, I can wipe it if I don't like areas. I can add areas of light, because basically what this is a process whereby gloss creates white and surface creates dark. In addition to that, I've also got here what is a ready-made material which is called sandable gesso, and again when I paint it on, it has a roughness that will hold ink, and I can work on this plate until I've got an image that I feel is satisfactory to print. It's all very quick drying, and in the end what we will have is a plate that will hold an intaglio pigment that we can then print through the press. I can do the same thing on the MDF. The MDF has a different property in as much as, because it's porous, it will have a half tone as a starting point, so that if I paint the gloss on, I'll be creating a white or a lighter tone than the plate itself. And if I paint with the carborundum grit or the sandable gesso or another material that's available off the shelf is micaceous iron oxide, and they all do the same thing, that they effectively have a painted mark. You can create gestures, you can create line, you can basically do what you like with the material, and this will create an intaglio plate ready for printing. In addition to that, we can also add some speedball. If we add the speedball to the carborundum grit, again it does exactly the same thing. It gives you a durable material, that will hold a particular tone. All very straightforward. And generally anything that marks the surface, Stanley knife, cutting tool, Dremel, anything that marks the surface will hold the ink. In addition to that, the plates are so flexible that what we can do is to use image on, which is a photo process that you can apply to the plate and print in conjunction with any of the other methods that I've explained to this point. So when all the plates are made, we can then print them through the press.